All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is race time for the first time in this NASCAR race weekend, and this is the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Zip Buy Now, Pay Later 200 at the Martinsville Speedway. It's the round of 8 finale, the penultimate race of the season for all three series at the Paperclip Half Mile Short Track in Martinsville, Virginia. And we get to see who's going to be the first race winner here this weekend and see who the last. Whoa, had an ad playing on my phone there for a second. Trying to get the chat up in the stream. Mid-sentence, where was I? Of course, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing here tonight, Friday night. Kind of a unique start time, 6 p.m. Eastern here. Usually for night races at Martinsville, I feel like they start 7, 8 o'clock. So this is going to be done pretty shortly. But thanks for everybody tuning in. And hopefully, if you're just getting off of work, maybe getting home from school, settling in here this evening, hope to bring you some good live commentary coverage. One driver is locked into the Championship 4 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series after winning not just the first race of the round of 8, but also the second race of the round of 8, and will be going for the sweep here tonight. That would be Grant Enfinger. As we take a look at the point standings on the big screen, you'll see them scrolling across the bottom of the screen throughout the majority of this race today, as well as other race statistics. But Enfinger, again, with winning the first two races of the round, locked in, so 3 drivers will lock themselves into the Championship 4 tonight. At least 2 of them will be virtue of points. Corey Heim is sitting plus 49 points above the cut line, plus 38 for Christian Eckes and Ty Majeski, who's been very good on the short tracks throughout his truck career, but especially this season as well, is plus 22 points above the cut line. So it's going to be really hard for those drivers below the cut line to go out here and try to point themselves in without an issue for Heim, Eckes, or Majeski, especially for Majeski being the first driver above that cut line. Again, only plus 22 points. It's by no means a lock-in, but knowing how good he is on this style of racetrack, he's going to be very tough to beat. So you might have to go out there and win the race today, and you just never know if that could happen. Obviously, all these drivers that are below the cut line, a couple of them have wins. A couple of them have fought for wins throughout the course of the season as well that don't have them. Raja Kruth with an early win at Las Vegas this season. 2 wins, in fact, for Nick Sanchez on a super speedway and intermediate track. But no wins on the short tracks for any of those 4 drivers below the cut line. They've all been won by drivers that are above the cut line. Heim, Eckes, Majeski, and also Lane Riggs, who is not in the playoffs listed below. 22 points out is Raja Kruth, first driver below the cut line, minus 24 points for Taylor Gray, minus 41 for Tyler Ankrum, and Nick Sanchez is 43 points below Majeski in points. So that's the way that's going to look coming into the race today. I'll be doing the math during the stage ends today and try to update the bottom of the screen standings going into the final stage so we know exactly how many points or positions one driver has to beat another to make it into the Championship 4 spots. As we take a look at tonight's starting lineup before we get into this race, Christian Eckes is on the pole as he tries to go for the sweep here at Martinsville Speedway. Won the spring race earlier this year, led over 100 laps in that race. Ty Majeski, who also started on the front row that day, led a bunch of laps, finished in second, starts second here today. Taylor Gray, Nick Sanchez, couple playoff drivers again below the cut line, start in row 2. Row 3 for Lane Riggs and Ben Rhodes. Riggs a winner in the last 2 short track races, Bristol and the 1 mile flatter oval at Milwaukee. In row number 4, it'll be Corey Heim and Chase Purdy. Heim with a top 10 here earlier this season, though won at Martinsville last year. In row number 5, Caden Honeycutt, Jack Wood. Of course, Honeycutt more experience in that truck here this evening. In row number 11 will be Raja Kruth and William Selwolich, who will be running full-time in the Xfinity Series next year, making another truck start for Tricon Garage. Johnny Sauter filling in the 66 for Connor Jones, who was suspended this week following actions on the racetrack in the middle of last weekend's race at Homestead. Landon Lewis will be making a start in the Hattori Racing 16 truck, also in row number 7. In row 8 will be Tanner Gray and Matt Crafton, Dean Thompson, Daniel Dye in row 9, and Timmy Hill, Stuart Friesen in row number 10. Matt Mills, after suffering injuries from the crash last weekend at Homestead, released from the hospital Monday morning, and he will be racing today in that 42 for Nice. Matthew Gold also started in row 11 alongside Mills. Tyler Ankrum, Dawson Sutton will line deep up in the field in row 12. Row 13 for Bailey Curry and Jake Garcia. Connor Zilich making another truck start in the 7 for Spire Motorsports, and former truck champion Brett Moffitt on the outside of row 14 as well. In row 15 will be Dylan Lupton and Lawless Allen. Corey Day making his 4th truck start of the season on the inside of Spencer Boyd in row 16. Row 17, Grant Enfinger, and welcome back to the racetrack, Norm Benning for his 2nd start of the season. Clayton Green and Justin Carroll will round out the field in row 18, and that will be our full 36 truck lineup for tonight's Martinsville penultimate race for the Craftsman Truck Series. The Zip Buy Now, Pay Later 200. They're currently going through the starting lineup also on FS1, so if you're wondering where you can watch the race visually, again, Fox Sports 1, as always, carrying tonight's Craftsman Truck Series race. But hopefully you guys are ready, tuned in, and we'll see how this is going to go. Well, maybe some of you are going into work. If you work night shift. Most people, generally speaking, do not. But for those of you maybe listening at work or on your way to work, greatly appreciate you tuning in as well. See here, Mark DeMars, Ty, Wade, thanks for tuning in. You guys are the first in the chat right now. Mic cutting out? Don't think so. Not on my end, at least. Just make sure I have the right settings. Yeah, the settings are okay. Appreciate you tuning in. Chat is open. Chat poll, I should say, is open. Obviously, the chat's open as well. But the chat poll is open. Be sure to vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race. 20 votes already. Engines haven't quite fired for the race yet. Ty Majeski leading the poll right now at 35% of the votes to win this race. 30% for Christian Eckes. 15% taking Lane Riggs. And other at 20%. I just put my top 3 favorites for the race. Now, Corey Heim, most weeks, is a favorite to win in the Craftsman Truck Series and has won here already before. Again, he won the race last season at Martinsville, but earlier this year, he qualified back half of the top 10. That's where he qualified today. He ran there most of that race, and that's where I think he might run this one. That race at Martinsville earlier this season was also under the lights, so very similar track conditions. And the 2 drivers who started on the front row last Martinsville race in the spring also starting on the front row in tonight's race. So the quick assessment there, I think this race is going to be won by either Christian Eckes or Ty Majeski. I personally went with Christian Eckes for the race win tonight because he did win this race earlier this year. Majeski, I think, is going to more or less try to run maybe a smarter race, knowing he's the last driver above the cut line. Maybe on the defensive side of things with Taylor Gray, Nick Sanchez starting up in the top 5 as well. And obviously they need a win to make it Majeski by quite a bit to make it on into the next round as well. As far as the fuel window for tonight's race, they can make it on just 1 pit stop. We'll obviously see if there's much tire fall off as this race progresses. I was unable to watch practice and qualifying, which took place earlier this afternoon, so that'll be new to me as far as seeing exactly what kind of fall off we may or may not see. Usually don't see a lot in the truck races here. Though if we get a long enough green flag run in the final stage and cause any sort of a late caution, the tires will be there to use. I believe these teams do get 2 sets. It's be interesting to see. Maybe they choose to stay out stage 1. First 2 stages obviously very quick. Final stage the longest of the 3. Making up nearly the second half of tonight's event. Very anxious about this race. I think it'll be a good one. Thanks for tuning in, Ethan. For contenders, say Nick Sanchez to win. Underdog, Caden Honeycutt. Those are a couple of bold picks. Because he's Professor Honeycutt. I mean, we'll see. Trucks are on the racetrack right now, getting things warmed up. Pace laps beginning here at the Martinsville Speedway. Nothing like some Friday night short track racing. Again, a triple header this weekend for Truck Xfinity Cup. Same for next weekend for the championship race at Phoenix. So back-to-back short tracks here to finish off the season once again here in 2024, as we've seen in the last few seasons as well. 12 degrees of banking in the corners. None on the straightaways here on this half-mile short track. 0.526 miles in length exactly. 800-foot front and back stretch. A very symmetrical racetrack. 200 laps scheduled distance, 50 laps in stages 1 and 2. And again, the second half of the race will be all of stage 3, 100 laps. 150 to 160 lap is the fuel window. So again, they will have to pit for fuel purposes once, but depending on how the tires fall off, we may see more pit stops than that. And obviously, depending on how many green flag laps we get, if we get a caution fest like we've seen numerous times with the truck or Xfinity races here, might lead into less pit stops for those at the front of the field, as they won't have as many green flag laps on their tires. So we'll have to see how that all pans out before the strategy even is a thought process, really. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with their tires. So we'll have to see how that all pans out before the strategy even is a thought process, really. Let me know in the chat how many people are experiencing mic issues on my end. I keep hearing that it's cutting in and out. I'm not experiencing any lagging issues either. Line 1771 FAHQ2. Thanks for tuning in also. How am I watching Fox Sports 1? Hulu. But it'll be on any cable provider as well. If you live in the US, if you live outside of the United States, I don't know that I can help you there. Mike, okay for you, but just got here. Yeah, I'm not sure what the issues you guys may be experiencing, but we've had 2 people mention the mic cutting out. I have full connection. Yeah, if you have Hulu, well, it depends on the bundle. So, like, I have basically the bundle with Hulu that carries pretty much like all the channels you would get if you were at like a hotel. Jerry Marty in the chat, appreciate you tuning in and putting the feedback in there. Audio's good. Alrighty. Checking pit road speeds currently. And again, we will be racing here very shortly. 200 lap race in Martinsville, not a long one. We've experienced shorter races like this all season. But with how much is on the line, it's going to be very aggressive from the get-go, I'd imagine, especially at those top 4 spots in the running order being taken up by drivers that are trying to get into the championship 4 here this evening. Full package. Yeah, I'm not paying the full package either. All I need is the main priority sports channels that carry these NASCAR races, and I'm good. Because pretty much that package will carry anything else I'll end up watching live sports-wise. If I'm not watching live sports, I'm really not watching TV at all, to be completely honest. Lights are out on the pace car. They'll be going green this time by. Christian Eckes has elected the inside row for this initial start. Again, he is the pole sitter, as you see on screen. Our screen, right here. Right in front of us. Be sure to hit the like button. Our goal is to get to 100 likes. Might be a steep hill to climb, but let's see if we can get there. Again, 200 laps of racing. Pace car's now on pit road. It'll be Eckes and Majeski leading the field to the green. As they work their way up off of turn 4, Eckes through the restart zone gets a good launch. Spinning to the tires by Majeski on the outside. Hit from behind there from Sanchez to get him going. As the green flag is underway. And we begin this night race under the lights at Martinsville Speed. Initial start while Christian Eckes at the very front of the field is going to lead the opening lap of the race from the pole. Side by side now for third, Majeski breaking free on the second lap. And that door-to-door battle for third is the two drivers who started in row 2, Nick Sanchez and Taylor Gray. Sanchez on the outside lane gets good drive off of turn 2, and he's cleared for third. Lane Riggs, who has won 2 shorter tracks late in the season, during the play, he took to the outside behind Sanchez, trying to make the pass on Lane Riggs. There should be grip up there. There should be a lot of rubber in on the racetrack. There was truck practice and qualifying this afternoon. There was also Xfinity Series practice and qualifying. So if you're seeing any rubber laid down on the racetrack, even though this is the first race here this weekend, that would be why. So a lot of track activity already going on here on this Fast Friday. Riggs able to make that pass a lap and a half ago now. A clear into the 4th place position. Single file all throughout the top 10. Race lead is about 0.7 of a second at the line for Christian Eckes over Ty Majeski. 1.2 seconds back in third is Nick Sanchez, as I mentioned. Lane Riggs is 1.7 seconds off the lead in 4th, and Taylor Gray 2 seconds off the lead in 5th. A lot of battles going on mid-pack for position right now. Corey Day, Lawless Allen, door-to-door. Tyler Ankrum trying to pick up some spots. Grant Enfinger, who started very deep in the field, also trying to work forward. Taylor Gray was going to ship it in 3 wide under Corey Day. Not 3 wide, but he's going to put the bumper to him. It actually allowed for Day to be able to clear the 33 truck to his outside. Gets back down onto the bottom. Less than stellar start to the truck career for Corey Day in his first 3 starts. Still looking for his first career top 10. But there's definitely a little bit of beating and banging going on in the middle of the pack. Not over-aggressive here in the early laps, at least. Stuart Friesen, a slight bump and run to get by the 16 truck of Landon Lewis. Lewis looked a little loose off of turn 4, trying to pick the throttle back up. Lost more time to Stuart Friesen. 41 truck trying to look to the inside. Maybe he'll make a pass. A couple of the Nice trucks right on top of each other. Kiner Zilich in the 7 also started deep in the field and is in 7th. Lap number 9 working on lap 10, this time by at the line.
On to it. Talented young racer he is. Racing right along there with the 44 full. Bailey Curry looking on.
She's got a Nice Motorsports sandwich right there, and Connor Zilich is in the middle of it.
Been impressed with Gould, haven't you, Phil?
I had. He was good. He was good right off the truck when practice started. Had some solid lap times.
He's loose now, though, sideways again off that corner, and Zilich is able to turn to the bottom and take advantage of that.
But Zilich comes into 21st. Zilich making his 5th Truck Series start this year. Remember, he wowed everybody when he made his Truck Series debut at COTA earlier this season. Started on pole, finished 4th. But he's also been juggling Xfinity Series as well. This weekend, though, just focused on the truck.
Norm Benning there, the 6th, going a lap down. No practice for Norm, so trying to get a feel for that truck.
Tanner Gray, that 15 white black truck on the outside. He's another truck that had to go to the back for the initial start. They had to work out brakes for him. He was getting some brake chatter. So they worked on that truck just like they did the 18 of Anchorman, who's right behind this battle for position.
Corey Day in the 81, back behind the wheel, the sprint car driver, figuring these places out quickly. Never done this before. Back there in a mess. He's battling for the 30th spot.
There's a lot of messes out there, Jamie. Everywhere you, that's what I always thought about Martinsville. There's nowhere to hide. If your truck isn't what you need it to be, there's going to be somebody knocking on your door.
And I know Jamie, when she said battling for 30th.
Yeah, Ankrum and Day both losing spots on this initial start to the race. And for Ankrum, he really has to get going almost in a must-win situation as it is. He could be facing a possible lap down situation before the end of these first 50 laps to get to the end of stage 1 if it goes green long enough. 1.3 second lead opened up in the very front of the field now for Christian Eckes. And again, Ty Majeski still remains in second. Nick Sanchez is in the top 5, have not changed in positions from about lap 3 or 4 onward. And looking at the lap times at the front of the field, fastest lap in the early going, no surprise, the pole sitter Christian Eckes, 20.148. So we'll monitor the fall off if we get a long green flag run right off the rip here. Already seeing some brakes glowing underneath some trucks, despite only being 17 laps in, and that includes for the race leader, Christian Eckes. Definitely going to see some glowing brakes a lot more often in this Truck Series race. Being under the lights, Xfinity Series starting in the late afternoon tomorrow will finish under the lights as well for their 250-lap race. First full screen commercial break now taking place on Fox Sports 1. Again, Christian Eckes has led every lap from the pole thus far. That fast lap, by the way, was on lap 3 for Eckes. Currently working lap 18. Average speed on that lap of 93.985 miles per hour. He led 133 laps here in the spring race out of 200. Starting up towards the front here today, he's got a good chance to try to eclipse that mark from earlier this year. Eckes also coming into this race has led the most laps of any driver in the Truck Series so far this season, over 800 laps led. If he were to lead quite a few laps in this race today, he could actually eclipse 1,000 laps led on the season. Coming into the night, 863 laps led for Eckes. So 143 laps led, or 47 laps. I can't do my math right. 137 laps led tonight for Christian Eckes, and he will get to 1,000 laps led on the season. So that's pretty close to that number of laps that he led earlier this year. So it's definitely possible. One more race still to go. Again, next week at Phoenix also. It still has been a good year. Only 2 wins for Eckes. Kind of surprising when I was looking at that earlier today, getting the stats up at the bottom of the screen. For some reason, I was thinking he had more than 2 wins this year, but that was not the case. They were both fairly early in the season, though the consistency has been great all year long, as he did win that regular season championship this year, which is the reason for having as many playoff points on top of those 2 wins that he has, because there are quite a few drivers with multiple wins at the Truck Series full-time level. Norm Benning having an issue off turn 4 recently, and as soon as he tried to get down to the bottom out of the way, he almost pulled down right in front of that 98 of Ty Majeski. Really did pull down in front of him, but luckily Majeski was able to miss to the outside. Didn't cost Ty Majeski much time, and actually as this run carries on a little longer, Majeski's starting to close the gap on Eckes, who's maybe struggling in lap traffic a bit. Halfway through stage 1 already. Corey Day and Tyler Ankrum still battling, as they pretty much have been since the very start of the race. Again, right at the tail end of the field. They're the last 2 trucks on the lead lap. Tanner Gray may be holding both trucks up right now. That race leader of Christian Eckes is coming. So although the lead was about a half a second a couple laps ago, it's quickly jumped up to about a 1.5 lead yet again. So whatever trouble Eckes was having, maybe trying to get by the 76 of Spencer Boyd, who's now the first truck 1 lap down. Obviously, Majeski got caught up behind him as well for a little bit of time. Grant Enfinger, who again is the only driver locked in the championship 4, still back in 21st after starting in the back half of the field. Maybe more of that sim time going into work for Phoenix for that 9 team. A little bit of contact getting down into turn 3, splitting 3 wide, by the way, on the back straightaway around Tanner Gray was Anchorman Day, and then they kind of met going into the turn 3 entry. Ankrum is going to finally complete the pass on Day. It looked like Day slipped up on corner entry into turn 1. And here comes Eckes. A huge line of lap traffic at the tail end of the lead lap right now in front of the race leader. Stretch that lead out to almost 2 seconds. We'll see how quickly he can get through maybe a little bit faster lap trucks at the tail end of the pack now. Corey Day looking a little loose up off the exit of turn 2 yet again. And now he is the last truck on the lead lap right in front of the leader. Day sliding the rear tires. It's on a consistent basis. That truck is yawed out. I don't know if that's because he's trying to dirt track it around here or not. Obviously, a lot of dirt track experience for the young gun, 18-year-old. Rory Heim, who is the most winningest driver this season, 6 on the year heading into tonight, currently in 7th. Couple spots higher than what he qualified. He's been in 7th for pretty much ever since that first 3-4 laps into the race. The top portion of the field finally got settled in. Majeski is starting to close the gap just a little bit. Day's been able to roll the outside pretty well, getting him a decent drive off. Looking to make a pass on the Ford truck of Brett Moffitt. And now they're side by side right in front of the leader, Christian Eckes. Eckes has nowhere to go after passing Tanner Gray a few laps ago. And Majeski now under a second off the lead, and this is his chance to really start to close the gap. And we may actually get a caution here shortly because now we got a slow truck bottom of the track entering turn 1. That would be the 44 of Matthew Gold. Another one of those niche trucks having a problem. Everybody trying to get by to the outside. He is still rolling, but very, very slow. Yet we stay green with 17 laps to go in stage 1. Now he pulls to the bottom of the track out of the way again on the back straightaway. I mean, he is creeping. But NASCAR giving him a chance to try to get back into the pits. Moffitt going a lap down. Definitely under power, and the caution finally comes out as he will come to a stop on the back straightaway. So our first caution of the day is out. Right as the leaders were working through heavy lap traffic, Eckes was holding on for the moment. 15 laps to go in stage 1 will set up a little bit of a sprint to the end of this first stage now. Probably have a little less than 10 laps to go, I'd assume, on the restart. And get that 44 truck back to pit road. Nothing for track officials to necessarily have to clear up off of the racetrack. So it shouldn't be that lengthy of a yellow. I put Eckes twice in the most wins category. I gotta see this. Oh, I did put him in there twice. I'll put somebody else in there. Good catch. I'll just put Lane Riggs in there. He's got 2 wins. Good catch. Appreciate you pointing that out, Riley. Make the quick fix. Very calm for Martinsville standards. So far, I mean, it's early. This caution might lead into mayhem on the restart, potentially. We'll see. I'd say it's calm for Truck Series Martinsville standards, but again, it is early. We got a lot of time for this thing to go south. Let's not start counting our chickens before they hatch. Couple of ThorSport trucks coming onto pit road. A few of them. Ben Rhodes from the top 10 pits. Trey Majeski, I think, came down as well. Matt Crafton. 13, Jake Garcia. Tyler Ankrum, tail end of the lead lap, comes into the pits. And Brett Moffitt going to get the free pass back there in 29th.
Decision by Mark Hillman. They were going to pit right here. This is a great opportunity with a truck that's extremely tight. They're going to make a significant adjustment right now, maybe more than what they think they might need, but they want to try and get out in front of it, or as they run, this could set them up as they felt like their speed was decent once they got a little bit of clear track. Amanda?
Yeah, Rick, and someone else who wants to see if they can set themselves up was Grant Enfinger, started from the rear of this group over the 9, and they put the track bar down as well. But Grant's been locked into this championship for 28 days, Regan. They can just race different out here.
So the great 3-wide battle off the pit road between Grant, Johnny Sauter, and Matt Crafton.
That is an insane stat line, though, that he has been in the championship for about a month already. first race of this round was all the way back at Talladega, which at the time would have been the second race of the round of 12 for the Xfinity and Cup Series playoffs. But that was the round of 8 opener for the truck side of things. Impressive to not only win on the super speedway, but get a win the following race a couple weeks later, which took place again last weekend at Homestead. Completely different racetrack, mile and a half. Those are the first 2 wins of the year for Enfinger. Entirely. Again, trying to go for the sweep here today. And I don't know off the top of my head if we've ever seen any truck driver sweep the playoffs, or at least one round of the playoffs. Playoffs have only been around in the truck series since 2017. And obviously they're shorter than what we'd see in the Cup Series level with only 10 drivers and 3 rounds. 2 of those rounds being the 3 race rounds, and obviously the championship 4 race. Zilich was on pit road, as well as Ben Rhodes, Daniel Dye, Grant Enfinger, Matt Crafton, Stuart Friesen, Tyler Rankern, Jake Garcia, Dawson Sutton, Corey Day, Timmy Hill, Clayton Green, Spencer Boyd, Justin Carroll all came onto pit road there. Norm Benny, by the way, when he was slow on the racetrack about 17 laps in, pulled into the garage. And then Matthew Gold, who had brought out the caution for stalling out of the back straightaway, currently scored 5 laps down after getting assistance back to pit road during the yellow. So the top 13 trucks stay out of the pits for this restart. It'll be interesting to see if they end up pitting at the end of this stage, or if they're just going to stay out, maintain their track position, and try to run into the end of stage 2. I feel like Majeski and Eckes are kind of forced to, considering that Nick Sanchez is up there in 3rd, Taylor Gray as well. I'd say more so Gray in 5th. It's going to take a lot for Sanchez to point his way in. Majeski might eliminate him from the point side of things off of stage 1 alone. With Majeski being the first driver in coming into this race. Last guy out, Nick Sanchez, was 8th in the standings entering this one, again, minus 43. So Heim moves up a spot in the running order as well. Majeski did stay out on the racetrack. He was actually the only ThorSport truck not to hit pit road during that caution. Makes sense to stay out. 8 laps to go in the restart. Green flag back in the air. And again, Eckes on the front row taking the bottom for the restart. Majeski just can't get the good launches on the outside. Big move by Raja Karuth, clipping the curbing 3 wide to the bottom under a teammate, Chase Purdy. Corey Heim trying to block Purdy now on the back straightaway, and Purdy gives him the bumper entering turn 3. Bit of a stack up and a lot more contact. Dean Thompson hops the curb. Slides the rear tires after doing so, and might be 3 wide again. It's getting aggressive in the back half of the top 10. Drivers on fresh tires just behind those group of trucks. Trying to slide each other. A lot of big blocks on the front straightaway, lap over lap. Somebody's going to get sent one of these times. They get too aggressive with the blocking side of things. Grant Enfinger trying to put the bumper to the truck he's working on. Looked like it was maybe Tanner Gray in the 15. No different schemed race truck, 91. Another white and black truck out there in the field. They look similar from the aerial shot at first. Taylor Gray got back up into 4th where he started this race. He got by Lane Riggs on the restart. Caden Honeycutt's moved up to 6th after starting in row 5 today. And all the top 10 drivers are still those that had stayed out of the pits. Connor Zilich is the first running driver of those that did hit pit road. He is currently in 11th. 3 to go now at stage 1 at the line. Eckes already out to 1 second lead over Ty Majeski, who was closing in on Eckes into lap traffic, but now since the restart seems to be struggling even on the short run on older tires. Eckes actually ran his fastest lap of the race on lap 44, a lap or 2 once we got going on this restart as well. which is insane. So that goes to show there really isn't much tire fall off. So those that pitted for the tires at the tail end of the field haven't seen much movement these first 6 laps or so since the restart. Zilch just getting by Dean Thompson for 10th on this lap. But only the top 13 stayed out. So 7 laps in, only 3 positions gained on the restart for Zilch. Stuart Friesen also trying to get by the 5. On the inside, Raja Karuth has a problem on the front straightaway. First playoff driver to have a major issue today, may have a flat tire. Luckily enough, the stage end is right now for Christian Eckes as he wins stage 1, so Karuth should stay on the lead lap as he has to limp it back, but will lose all of his track position. He was in the top 10. All of a sudden now at the tail end of the lead lap. So Eckes, your stage 1 winner. Ty Majeski in second for stage 1. Nick Sanchez third. Taylor Gray in fourth. Lane Riggs fifth. Corey Hyman 6th, Caden Honeycutt 7th, Chase Purdy 8th, William Sawalich 9th, and Connor Zillich rounds out the top 10.
The 66.
We had an issue.
Not even sure you call it, but something happened to that truck. It went straight when he got to the corner.
Christian Eckes, first driver to score over 300 stage points in a season, gets it done so far. So perfect for driver number 19.
Interesting stat line there that Jimmy Little just dropped on the broadcast. Over 300 stage points on the season for Christian Eckes. This is the 10th stage win of the year for him as well, most in the series. He was tied with Corey Hyman at 9 when they entered the race here tonight. The poll that is open in the chat will remain open until the end of stage 2 for you guys to vote for who you think will win tonight's race. Christian Eckes and Ty Majeski currently tied at 32% of the votes. When we started this stream, Majeski was leading the poll, but now it's a tie. Lane Riggs is down to 12%, and other at 24%, catching up with the top 2 options. The end of lap 100 will be the end of the poll. Second caution of the day with the stage end at lap 50. The first yellow ended up coming out with 15 laps to go in stage number 1 at lap 35. As I mentioned already, Brett Moffitt got the free pass during that caution, and during the stage end, Tanner Gray will get the free pass in 29th. So 29 trucks will be on the lead lap. And those trucks that were lapped down that did pit during the stage end will not be able to take the wave around on the restart, because even if we see the top portion of the field end up pitting for the first time here, I would imagine the trucks that also pitted on the lead lap during the last caution will stay out, leapfrog in the running order. That will yet to be determined. I think some of those lead lap trucks will pit and some will not. I think a lot of the non-playoff drivers, Riggs, Honeycutt, Purdy, I think those guys are going to hit pit road. But I would not be shocked if the playoff drivers stay out, considering how valuable these stage points are for them. Although the 3 drivers coming into the day in the top 6 right now in the running order, it doesn't look like they're going to get pointed out of the championship 4. But all it takes is a win by somebody below the cut line, and then all of a sudden you're looking at Eckes, High, Majeski battling for the final 2 spots if, say, Nick Sanchez or Taylor Gray were to go to victory lane. So that's why they're still fighting for the stage points, even though they look pretty good on points as it stands, especially for Heim and Eckes. But then putting themselves in the best position possible, at least, for if that scenario takes place. So I do think they will stay out of the pits. Because if they end up pitting now, they're all going to restart outside the top 10. And at least on 35-lap older tires, we didn't see much of a change in the lap time, considering that Eckes literally ran the fastest lap of the entire race on that last restart. And here comes Taylor Gray to the pits, which is interesting. He is a playoff driver. Lane Riggs will come with him, and a lot of others stay out.
14th at that stage, and Tyler Ingram finished 17th.
Yeah, Christian Eckes, just like he did here in the spring, stays on the racetrack. Majeski this time, though, stays out there with him.
Coming down pit road, Amanda.
Taylor Gray told us earlier ahead of this race that they have one mission tonight, and that is to win it all if they're going to play in Phoenix come next weekend. He said that there's going to be a few adjustments on the 17, headed in the right direction. A little air pressure and track bar, but the 17 be good to go, Regan.
Well, man, definitely not what the 71 and Raja Caruth wanted tonight. Troubles out there on the racetrack as we saw him go up high on the track. Felt like he had a tire down at that moment, but also has other problems now. Expect this to be a long stop. They're going to check the sway bars on that truck. Thought that might have been dragging as well, and the brakes didn't feel good. A number of different issues for the 71 right now.
That is one driver happy to get to pit road, get his truck looked at. Got everything on the line right now.
Luckily, it all happened right at the end of the stage, so if we get to pit road and not lose the lap, work on that truck.
20 more actions still to come from Martinsville Speedway. Can Christian Eckes hang on and do what he did in April?
Well, he's off to a good start. So far, Eckes has led every lap today. That will not be the case throughout the entirety of this one, considering he hasn't pitted yet. So, Eckes, Majeski, Sanchez, Heim will be the top four in the restart, all in the playoffs. Again, very surprising. Taylor Gray chooses to pit there. Already after stage one, looking like he's going to be in a must-win situation, then sacrificing the stage 2 points. So, should be on a good strategy there. Going to be behind everybody who would have pitted before that. Lane Riggs also pitting with him. I'm not surprised that Lane Riggs came in. 4th and 5th place runs so far for Riggs and Gray throughout the entirety of the race. Taylor Gray, that is. Tanner just got the free pass. Back end of the field. Finally found the race, so that's good. Got there eventually. A little under a half hour from the initial drop of the green flag today. Again, we're under the stage 1 break. This is our second caution. Only yellow for incident was the 44 of Matthew Gold, stalling out of the racetrack. He has continued on in this race once he got assistance back to pit road, whatever issues he had that caused the truck to have that misfire. He's now back out on the racetrack, currently working 4 laps down. Landon Lewis pulled off the racetrack right before that last restart. He has been off track since, now 15 laps down and currently, again, still not on the track. Norm Benning pulled to pit road and into the garage area just 17 laps into the race and is currently off track 41 laps down as well. So we may have 2 drivers out with engine issues or some sort of mechanical issues at that. We'll monitor if they end up returning to the race as time moves on. So Eckes Majeski will be on the front row for the 3rd consecutive restart.
Choose time here at Martinsville Speedway as we get ready for stage number 2. Mixed bag here. You talked about strategy and set us up perfectly, Phil. And we've had basically, it breaks down 4 playoff drivers have come down pit road at one time or another. 4 have stayed out.
Yes, our top 7 right there at the end of that stage all stay on the racetrack. So we don't know if they're going to try to shortcut this second stage. More than likely, especially for our playoff drivers, as we talked, other than Grant Enfinger, they need the points. Eckes with a stage win getting 10 points, and Majeski getting 9 points for finishing second.
It's just a technicality. They're there. But I'm going to tell you what, if the caution falls in a timely fashion, we'll see some more strategy, just like we did in that first one.
Down with the strategy for sure.
On the restart, 40 laps to go in stage 2. Green flag back in the air. Eckes another great launch on the bottom. Majeski not so much up on the top. If he can just stay side by side with him through the first corner one of these times, he may have a chance of pulling out to the lead, but Eckes is clear again off turn 2. Corey Heim quickly to the bottom of the track behind Sanchez and Majeski. Majeski outside of the 2 truck as they run door to door for second. A little contact through the center of 3 and 4, and that may cost the 2. Heim to the inside for 3rd now. They merge their way down into turn 1, single file around the curbing on the bottom of the racetrack. Caden Honeycutt now maybe looking to make a move on Corey Heim as he sits close behind in the 5th place position. Lap 13, stage 2. Couple side-by-side battles going on in the back half of the top 10, just outside the top 10 in the running order. 6/10 of a second lead for Christian Eckes as he continues to pull away on the same tires he started this race with on Majeski. Didn't run his fastest lap, though, on this restart like he did before that towards the end of stage 1. But still slowly growing that lead back out until he gets into lap traffic again, assuming we get that long of a green flag run, like we also did on the initial start, which was 35 laps. So far, longest green flag run of the early going in this race. Top positions, it looked like back to Friesen in 7th were single file. First side-by-side battle would be for 8th place between Ben Rhodes and Chase Purdy. Rhodes on slightly fresher tires will make the pass for position. Friesen is the first of those that have pitted in this race. Drivers that have not pitted would be the top 6, as well as Dean Thompson in 11th and Chase Purdy in 9th. Bailey Curry in 17th also has not hit pit road. So it looks like 9 drivers total have not yet made a stop. And they will have to for fuel purposes at some point in time. Again, the fuel window about 156 to 160 laps. Doubt we're going to have 40 caution laps in them. Well, I wouldn't say that. We could have 40 caution laps, but that'd be a huge gamble at the end of stage 2, especially if we don't get any caution laps during this 40-lap period, to say, yeah, I'm going to make it on fuel to the end. Couple of bumps, tail end of the lead lap. These trucks trying to get going so they're not at risk of going a lap down before the end of the stage. Trying to sort things out. Tanner Gray, who had gotten the free pass earlier in the race, is back there. Jake Garcia in the 13 truck is also back there. Johnny Sauter having a pretty decent run. He started deep in the field and is battling with Taylor Gray currently for 16th in the Thor Sport 66 truck. Multiple wins in Sauter's truck career here. Ran a few races part-time this season. Most of which, though, not for his former team at Thor Sport Racing, but tonight he is. Grant Enfinger is also up to 12th place currently, race high for him. And he would be in 4th of those that have pitted. Zilich, who was first of those that had pitted on the restart, is back to 9th, only behind Rhodes and Friesen on the same strategy. So top 10 from the restart, 10 laps in now, would be Christian Eckes leading the way, Ty Majeski in 2nd. Nick Sanchez 3rd, Corey Heim 4th, Caden Honeycutt in 5th. William Sowell in 6th. And 7th, it's Stuart Friesen, Ben Rhodes 8th, Connor Zilich 9th, Chase Purdy, his teammate, rounds out the top 10. And again, stage 2 will end at lap 100, which is only 27 laps away from now. Daniel Dye, Tyler Ankrum, side by side for 13th. Lane Riggs just in line behind them. Also a little bit of contact entering down into turn 1 between those two trucks. 1.7, now 1.8 second lead for Eckes at the line. As another commercial break taking place on FS1. This one a side-by-side commercial break. Take a look at the chat poll real quick yet again. 35 votes, 31% tie between Eckes and Majeski for the top spot. So definitely be able to choose who you want to win this race if you haven't yet. Again, that voting poll will close in about 25 laps from now, end of stage 2. We'll take our first ad break of the stream while the side-by-side break is going on currently as well on FS1. So you're listening on KRC to the Martinsville penultimate Craftsman Truck Series race in 2024. Most races FS1, trying to stay up to date as possible. All the Truck Series races are on FS1. Currently, the second half of the NASCAR Cup schedule is on the NBC station right now. So you're looking at these next 2 weeks, and the Xfinity races are on the CW. Starting next season with the new TV contract, all the truck races still staying on Fox and Fox Sports 1, just as they were through this last TV contract. CW will be airing every single Xfinity Series race. And as for Cup, they'll start the season on Fox like they did last year, but then they'll have a few races on Amazon Prime, a handful of races on TNT through the summer, and then back on NBC to finish the season off next season. If you're wondering where you can watch your NASCAR action for the top 3 series from the end of this year and beyond. 2-second lead now for Eckes, about as big of his lead has been so far in this race. Nobody's been able to touch him. And Corey Heim's actually losing those top 3 trucks in the running order. Pretty evenly spaced out the top 5 as of right now. William Sawalich had gotten around Caden Honeycutt recently for 5th. Honeycutt has since dropped to 7th. Stuart Friesen now the highest running of those that have hit pit road. Eckes is working through lap traffic at the tail end of the field as he works the outside line, getting by the 90 of Carroll, and looks to pass a couple other trucks at the tail end of the field. Now splits to the bottom. 20 laps to go in stage 1 for Christian Eckes. As he gets to the start-finish line this time by now, we'll have 19 laps to go in this second stage.
An update on our front runners, Amanda. Yeah, Jane, I go back to qualifying when you guys were talking to Christian Eckes, and he was saying that he's feeling optimistic about tonight. I did that report ahead of this race saying that Christian thinks that he has a better truck than we saw him win here in the spring. He told his team prior to this race, let's seize the day. Otherwise, he's been relatively quiet on the radio and has been pretty calm throughout this thing, Regan.
Ty Majeski in the number 98 right now. Very good behind the wheel. A little bit of trouble, though. Splitter has been hitting the racetrack in that truck the good majority of the race. The rear of the truck, he's struggling with grip with the back of the truck. Wants a little bit of help with that. Of course, they've stayed out the entire race so far. No chance to make an adjustment. Crew Chief Joe Shear reminded him, we're only going to get one opportunity. We got to get it right. Amanda?
Yeah, and Regan, Nick Sanchez's main complaint hasn't been with the truck, it's been with the track. He said as soon as rubber gets down on this thing, it is game on. And that is exactly what Nick Sanchez wants. He said that it is do or die for him tonight. And that's what makes this one of the easiest races that he's faced all year. He said, I've never had a clearer mind about what is ahead of me. Regan?
The struggles earlier on the radio for Corey Heim, was not overly thrilled with how his truck was. Getting a little bit better right now for him, though, as he's worked his way up through the field, some by getting the track position. Still needs help with the rear of the truck. The front has turned all night long. The rear is not keeping up with it, meaning it's slipping and sliding just a little bit. They're going to need an adjustment as well on this pit stop. And to update the 71 of Raja Caruth, still having issues with the brakes on that truck. They expect them to get the brake leader bottle out and bleed the brakes when he comes down in the next yellow.
Not what that team wanted to have happen. Raja Caruth back there with his hands full in 24th. Remember, it's all about points. He was the first driver below the cut line coming in, and he received 0 stage points in stage 1.
How about that yellow and black number 9 of Grant Empinger trying to grab that 9th spot from Connors Village? Remember, flat right rear tire qualifying 33rd, started 33rd, and here he is now knocking on the door of the 9th spot, already up into the top 10. And how about Tyler Ankrum? We've witnessed his struggles today, and there he is right behind Grant Envinger and Connors Village.
I texted with Grant after qualifying. He said, don't you worry about me, Mikey. We got a good truck. We just had that problem with the tire. But I'm really impressed with Ankrum because this team was down and out. A lot of confusion, just uncertainty about what to adjust and what to do. Now look at him racing for a spot up in the top 10.
Let's see the last lap pitted for the playoff drivers. Top 4 have stayed out. Enfinger and Ankrum both pitted on lap 38. Good call for them. I mean, they're making their way up. In that contention, get some points at stage 2.
We said at the time that was a great call, an opportunity to adjust down the truck. Probably have enough fuel to make it as long as we get enough caution laps. But you see Grant Enfinger now trying to grab another spot from Caden Honeycutt. That would be for the 8th spot. But we saw already, we talked about the differing strategies, already 3 different times that our playoff drivers have come to pit road during this early part of this race. Well, some of them haven't come yet.
Yeah, that's right. And I think if the caution flags right now, those guys all come too. Or at least the first 2. for sure because they've got fast enough trucks to win this race.
Well, remember, our top five still has yet to be a pit road. William Sawalch holding down that fifth spot. Great run for him. He's never had a top five here in the Truck Series. But there's a 71.
Look how loose that truck looks.
Doing all he can do. He needs to keep that 19 behind him if he can, but I just don't know if he has enough truck to do it, guys.
Going to be a tough task. You heard Regan talk about the issue. It's still not right for Raja Karu doing all he can to hold off Christian Eckes. So we have 7 laps remaining in stage number 2.
Now, Roger Caruth comes a big Jack Wood fan. Jack is the next guy ahead of Eckes and Caruth and wants to make sure if he can't stay on the lead lap, Jack does.
You can see Raja just can't get down in the corner. Once he gets to the center of the corner, then he's fine, but he just can't get down to the corner, and that's where he's going to lose that spot and lose that lap to Christian Eckes.
There you see, just ahead of the leader. Next truck in line, Jack Wood.
So Raja Karuth goes a lap down. Christian Eckes just continues to dominate this field.
Jamie, as we're watching Raja Karuth right now, keep an eye. See the right sides right there? Both rotors are glowing, and as he goes into turn 3 in a moment, we're going to see that the left sides, and in particular the left front rotor, is not glowing. That is the one that he's complaining about. That's where they believe the problem is.
Well, I would agree 100% with that, Regan. You could see 3 of them glowing, and that's just something you don't usually see. That left front is generally as red as the right front.
Yeah, definitely an issue. And Rajak reported during, prior to his pit stop, that it didn't feel like the left front brake was working, and he is exactly right. I'm not sure if bleeding the brakes is going to fix that. If you have enough brakes for both rears and the right front to be glowing the rotors, I'm not sure that bleeding the brakes is going to fix that. He may have something wrong with the brake line there or something. I'm not sure what it is.
Tyler Ankrum, this 18 truck has just come to life, guys. He's working his way, trying to get around Fake Honeycutt for that 8th position. And that's great news. That means he'll pick up some stage points here as long as he stays in position.
Eckes around Matt Mills. That's that free pass position that just took Roger Caruth out of.
There's Jack Wood.
Coming up on 2 laps to go in the stage, and the caution is out, and big damage to the back of Dylan Lupton's 02 truck. Heavy incident taking place there, and this will bleed to the end of stage 2, so Christian Eckes will lead the first 100-plus laps of tonight's race at Martinsville, sweeping the first 2 stages of the event, his 10th and 11th stage wins of the year. Lupton is rolling his truck, so it does look like he is at least able to drive away from the incident, but heavy damage. Definitely got up against the outside wall, and I would imagine it had to do with some help. Waiting for the field to roll by so he can turn it back around. And he'll do just that. Incident took place in turns 1 and 2. First camera angle we're seeing on FS1 had him back it up into the fence, but there wasn't a clear indication as to who may have gotten into the back of him, if, again, anybody did at all. Behind Eckes winning stage 1, Ty Majeski in 2nd yet again. Same for Nick Sanchez in 3rd. Corey Heim up a few spots to 4th. William Sawalich in 5th. Stuart Friesen in 6th. 7th for Ben Rhodes. Caden Honeycutt 8th. 9th for Tyler Ankrum. Grant Enfinger rounds out the top 10. So that is the top 10 at the end of this stage. Stage 2. And I would imagine we're going to be seeing pit stops for the first time today for the likes of Eckes, Majeski, Sanchez, Heim. They will have to come from deep in the field in the second half of this one here today to have a shot to win in the Zip By Now Pay Later 200 at Martinsville Speedway. Start times for the rest of the streams this weekend. We will have our NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll also be live for NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying at 1 p.m. Eastern. So a double header for your Saturday action of NASCAR right here on KRC. Our Cup Series coverage on Sunday will begin at 1:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race, leading into, obviously, the full 500-lap Xfinity 500, our main event this weekend from the Cup Series level. Be sure to hit that thumbs up like button if you haven't done so yet. We are currently at 26 likes. Let me refresh this real quick. But I believe we're at 26. Twenty-five likes so far. Free pass with this caution coming out, leading to the end of the stage. We'll go to the 42 truck of Matt Mills. He was running in 24, so Mills back on the lead lap. Our average race speed at 69.41 miles per hour. This is our third caution of the race. Again, incidental leading into the stage break. The caution took place at lap 97, coming up on lap 98 for the 02, having an incident in turn 2. Again, that was Dylan Lupton driving that truck this weekend. Currently scored 5 laps down with that heavy damage. Did make it back to pit road under his own power, but a lot of work to be done to keep him in the race here. Just over 45 minutes from the initial start. May see our first lead change, assuming that those leaders pit. I would imagine, again, that they will, because they have not yet. Unless they try to risk it and save 40 laps worth from the start of the race to the finish, but that'd be a bold gamble. I don't really think that's realistic. With 24 trucks on the lead lap, they'll probably end up restarting about 15th on back. There were 9 trucks that hadn't pit yet. And we'll see if maybe some of those trucks that have pitted already, if they will end up pitting as well. I think some of them will tail end of the lead lap, like a Dawson Sutton, Matt Craftsman. So they may be maybe around the back half of the top 10, just outside the top 10 for the likes of Eckes, Majeski, those front couple. Or whoever ends up winning the race off the pit road at the end of the next stage. We'll end the chat poll here during the stage 2 break as well. 36 votes. 33% taking Christian Eckes for the win. He was my pick as well. We'll see if we're collectively going to be right tonight. 30% taking Ty Majeski, other at 25%. Lane Riggs only getting 11% of the votes. Assuming he stays out of the pits here because he had already pitted, he'll actually be up in the top 5 again on this next restart. And I think this will hand the lead over to Stuart Friesen, who was 6th initially at the end of the last stage. Pit road will be open right now.
He's not even going to lead the next one. I disagree with that.
Rockers coming to you, Regan.
Well, you see Ty Majeski hitting the very first pit stall as he comes onto pit road. Right now, the front of the truck is tight. The back of the truck gets freer, though. And especially as the track gets rubber in, they're struggling with the rubber on the racetrack. So an adjustment for him. Amanda?
We saw Christian Eckes make a clean entry into his pit box. He told the team, don't change a thing. Just give me 4 fresh tires and some fuel so I can keep going. He's been relatively quiet here tonight, guys. It's really been impressive to see. Regan?
I've been doing exactly what they need to do tonight right now. As for the truck, it's been getting better for him, especially in the middle of that most recent run. He was working the brake bands as the driver in the truck to adjust the truck, said he was able to get it pretty good with that.
Thanks, Regan. Christian Eckes did it on lap 104 in the spring. What happened? He won the race.
Well, there you have it. So I guess this is the same strategy Eckes had back in the spring race earlier this season as well. Ended up winning still. Here tonight, pitting same lap right at the end of stage 2. We'll see if he wins it yet again. William Sawalich loses 4 positions on pit road, up 4 spots for Taylor Gray. So a lot of the drivers who ended up hitting pit road at the end of stage 1 also pitted here in stage 2. It looks like the only driver that stayed out was Ben Rhodes. So he will take over as the new leader. And I'm surprised we didn't see more drivers stay out of the pits, considering we didn't see much of a tire disadvantage for those that had stayed out initially. Top 4 at the end of that last stage were all still drivers who did not pit at all in this race. As we made it to the end of stage 2, it's time for a diecast showing tonight. Because Johnny Sauter is running tonight's race, I figured I'd show off a Johnny Sauter diecast. This is from his Cup Series days, back in the number 30 AOL car for Richard Childress Racing. This was specifically from the 2004 season, as it's got the Nextel Cup logo on there, not the Winston Cup logo on the side. So 2004. First year of the Nextel Cup Series. I showed up in 2004 diecast last weekend too. Kurt Busch championship winning diecast, but it's their diecast showing. Really like this AOL scheme. I thought it was a highly underrated paint scheme at the time. Both with him, Jeff Green also drove the 30 car. This is actually autographed on the windshield as well, so this was signed before I had purchased it. It's a pre-purchase signature. Got this at one of the many tracks I've been to. Always visit your tent vendors if you're at a NASCAR event. They will have a lot of good old die casts. They had a lot of them at Michigan this year when I was there, a lot more than they usually would. Bristol usually has a lot of them too, Daytona. But I mean, there's a lot of tracks that carry them, especially down in the southern region. I know Talladega's got a lot across, like the highway from the racetrack. But yeah, I mean, obviously you can see the track right there. I say highway, but traffic is stopped, obviously. That's the main entrance in and out of the parking lot, the main parking lot there. Yeah, it's too many to count as far as, racetracks I've been to that have tent vendors. Atlanta has quite a few of them. Martinsville, Charlotte, probably a lot of others that I haven't mentioned. AOL, you got mail? Actually, now that you mention it, I did not check my mail today, so I might have mail. Thanks for reminding me, by the way. I think I'll have to check that as soon as the stream comes to an end. I completely forgot to get the mail. We'll take a quick break here on our side of things, our second ad of the stream, and then we will get the final stage started for you here shortly.
Can't find the ring yet. The rewind from the flag. Start finish line.
Well, St. Pep had to win to get in. It's officially its own.
Such exciting moments for right here at Martinsville Speedway. Makes you wonder, will we have a walk-off win to punch their ticket to the championship 4 in a week from now? Well, we know it's not going to be Raja Karut. Regan reported on those brake issues. They are working on it. He left the window net up so he could get back out on track. But, his chances to go for the championship are over. But I'll tell you, on the flip side, the 18, Tyler Ankrum, that truck has come to life, Regan.
Jamie, it has, and I had to check with Mark Hillman just to make sure I didn't miss something as that truck has worked its way forward. A little bit of strategy with that pit stop earlier on during stage 1. They were able to make up some of those positions, and on this most recent pit stop, a very good stop, leapfrogged him some more. He said the main thing they've adjusted is wedge. What that does, that frees the truck up. He said it wasn't a big adjustment, just enough to get what they needed, but the further forward they get, the better that truck gets. Keep an eye, this is the best track position he has had all night right now.
We've talked about the differing strategies, and we saw earlier that our playoff contenders had pitted at 3 different times. Well, some hadn't pitted yet. Well, now everyone's been to pit road, and pit road's that 99 truck is the only one that is doing differing strategy from everybody else in the field. Christian Eckes came in as a leader, comes out second.
Pit road was counting on some guys behind him staying out, give him a little bit of a cushion. He didn't get that. Be interesting to see how these old tires hold up here.
Unbelievable job for the 19 team getting their driver out there. Meanwhile, Ben Rhodes restarts on the front row for the first time. Nice restart for him.
See 3 wide mid-pack.
Gonna have that.
There's a battle next. Nick Sanchez on the inside of Ty Majeski. That's for third.
I like what you pointed out earlier, Phil. You can get some good ground up on that high side of this racetrack. Generally, if you get caught up there, you're going to go backwards, but we're not seeing that today.
Likely, look at that pylon. Oh my goodness, 3 wide. Connor Zilich, the meat in that sandwich. That's a battle back there from 12th back to 17th.
These drivers know that we're in the final stage, and you're not coming to pit road unless you have an issue. So every spot counts.
We also know we've said it's been a pretty calm race so far. That's only going to get more and more heated as we go toward the checker.
You see those playoff cutoff points as they run right now. Grant Enfinger, obviously, he's in. Nothing has really changed with Eckes, Heim, and Majeski. Battle for the lead here. Christian Eckes says, excuse me, Ben Rhodes. This has been my race. I've dominated. I want to take over.
What about Ben Rhodes, though? He's been able to gap everybody but Eckes. So if Eckes makes short work of him, Maybe Ben holds on to that second spot.
Ben Rhodes, last year's champion, was eliminated after the round of 10. Oh, he gets a little push. Christian Eckes. Side by side.
Nick Sanchez likes what he's seeing. Those two trucks piling side by side. He'd be able to gain on them.
See, Ben's going to tuck right in behind, get back down to the bottom of the racetrack in the corners here. Remember, almost 80 laps on his tires on that 99 truck.
Unbelievable job for Christian Eckes with this 19 team.
Same thing for Nick Sanchez. Right there, second best most of the night. You're at this along with Majeski, but I'm telling you, Phil, Nick Sanchez pushes that Christian wasn't so happy with that truck. This thing would be a little bit thrilled with what he had because what a performance, as you said, Jamie, by this 19 team.
Well, you saw the points at this level, at this rate. Nick Sanchez is in a must win. He's got to get around those two trucks ahead of him if he wants any chance at Phoenix.
Yeah, Majeski came in above the cut line, the most precarious, only 22 points above the cut line, but 2 second place finishes in the stage, 18 points gained already in the
Look at this.
for the stages.
Short track laps led. Christian Eckes line. He's led more laps than Majeski, Enfinger, and Hine.
Guys, in 6 races coming into this race, he has outscored his closest competitor by 80 points on short tracks. That's almost 2 full races on short tracks. He has outscored them in points.
Just consistency. We've never seen anything like this. He has 20 top 10 finishes in 21 races. 3 wins, and sure, Corey Heim has 6 wins, but his consistency has not touched what Eckes has been able to do.
Again, his average finish ranks up in the top 10 all time in the series, going back till 1995.
What about the veteran Johnny Sauter and the kid Connor Village mixing it up there as you see Nick Sanchez pull to the inside, Ben Rhodes, and he's going to make quick work of this position. I think Majeski will follow right along. Those have been the best 3 trucks all night long, and they're going to surface in the top 3.
Amanda said, she talked to Sanchez. He said, this is the easiest scenario for us. We have to go out and win. There's nothing else about it. Can't count points. We're not looking at that. And right now he's got his sights set on one more truck, and that's the 19 of Eckes. If there's any slip up with Eckes and Sanchez can capitalize, he would immediately race next Friday for a championship.
Line to below the cut line if Sanchez could get to victory lane.
This pylon, I mean, the cream just rises to the top, right? You see the yellow. Those are all playoff drivers. You see Grant Enfinger in the green. He's punched his ticket. He's highlighted in green. Sawallich, though, and Freeze at Ben Rhodes, the only 3 not.
A little bit of a pause here on FS1.
Drivers
There
in
we
the
go.
top 10.
Working that gas, taking that move. See Tim Duggar riding along, liking what he's seeing so far.
But Christian Eckes back out front doing what we expect. But 113 laps tonight and counting. We're going to step aside. We won't miss a thing.
Side-by-side commercial break on FS1. We'll go through the full field running order here. Christian Eckes, again, your race leader. Nick Sanchez in second. Third place, Ty Majeski. Ben Rhodes now drops to fourth after leading on the restart on the older tires. Corey Hyman fifth. Stuart Breeze in sixth. Taylor Gray seventh. Tyler Ankerman eighth. Grant Enfinger ninth. And William Sawallich rounds out the top 10 in 10th. Caden Honeycutt in 11th. Corey Day up to 12th. Lane Riggs 13th. Matt Craft in 14th. And Connor Zilic 15th. Johnny Sauter 16th, Chase Purdy 17th, Brett Moffitt 18th, Dawson Sutton 19th, and Daniel Dyan 20th. 21st, Bailey Curry, Dean Thompson 22nd, Jack Wood 23rd, 24th, Matt Mills, Jake Garcia 25th, 26th, Timmy Hill. He's the last truck on the lead lap, and 27th, 1 lap down, Tanner Gray, 28th, Lawless Allen, 29th, Spencer Boyd, Clayton Green in 30th, Justin Carroll 31st, Matthew Gould 32nd, 33rd, Raja Karuth, who is now back out on the racetrack after having a brake issue, so fixed there for the 71 team. Dylan Lupton out of the race in the 0-2 following his incident at lap 96. He is done for the day. He'll finish 34th. Landon Lewis will finish 35th with the issue to his truck. Norm Benning pulled off on lap 17, will finish 36. So 3 drivers out of the race. Just over an hour from the drop of the green flag to where we are at this point right now, 70 laps to go this time by. Our average race speed is 67.13 miles per hour. Christian Eckes has led for 120 laps and counting from the lead after starting on the pole. And Ben Rhodes led for 11 laps after staying out of the pits during the stage 2 break. Those are the only 2 drivers to lead. 2 lead changes so far today. 3 cautions, 1 for incident in stage 1, stage 2. The stage 2 end was under yellow during that lap 50 in stage 1, also a yellow flag indicator. So again, 70 laps to go, a 3.2 second lead for Eckes since Sanchez has taken over the second place position. He's still consistently running a couple tenths a lap slower than the race leader. Eckes is just getting into lap traffic at the tail end of the field. Matthew Gould loses another lap. Justin Carroll about to go 3 laps down now, as well as Clayton Green, who is now at the tail end of the lead lap also. Back to full screen racing here on FS1.
And it's America's Game of the Week as Jared Goff leads.
I'll back up real quick and try to catch up with the lag during the last green flag run there.
Good enough to be in a prom. You know what I'm saying? We benched our young quarterback this week, Anthony Richardson, but Joe Flacco did the job.
It was a lot of years, Jamie, that I went through Mitchell. It was a lot of years.
And you can tell by the celebrations you have these days. And I'm happy for you.
Thank you, thank you.
Loyal fan. I love watching the NFL on Fox. See, 19 Eckes working his way through some lap traffic, putting a lap on Timmy Hill there, put Spencer Boyd down another lap.
He's trying to get this race over quick so he can get home and get ready for NFL on thoughts.
Nice plug, Phil.
Traffic tonight. 2.8 second lead over Nick Sanchez. Their second place.
Yeah, when that gap closes up a little bit because of all the traffic, you have to remember that Sanchez is going to have to go through that same traffic.
Let's listen to hear what Sanchez is saying.
Sure, you're aware of it. If we win tonight, you know, what? Be difficult, you know. All right, I got it.
Actually, what?
Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, Jamie, I'm just gonna add on that. You have to think that's exactly what Nick Sanchez is thinking. His spotter actually even told him, hey, stop looking at that mirror, settle down and look forward. His team's trying to give him information of where he can catch up to Christian Eckes. Tell him where he's better on track than what the 19 is doing. They're efforting in 3 and 4 for Nick Sanchez to get around this traffic and kind of chase down Christian Eckes, Jamie.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, great communication there, and you hear him say that the deal is we're in, the 98 is out. Doing all they can. They still 3 seconds back to the leader. Battle for 7th. Taylor Gray talked about him just missing those points that he needs so bad. But Tyler Ankrum in the 18 truck just come to life. Just so bad in practice. Something going on. Figured out it was the brakes. Started in the rear. And they've really done a nice job.
Then Grant Enfinger so bad in qualifying. And it turns out it was a flat tire, and he's done the same thing, rallied all night long.
You can see that one truck right behind Grant. So Wallich's nice, strong run for that young man. Just turned 18 a month or 2 ago. See, Taylor Grace moved up the racetrack intentionally. Looks like he's making some pretty good ground up there.
I love that. Maybe that's partially why I feel we haven't seen a bunch of carnage. People have options when they get down to the corner. They don't have to fight for that curve down on the bottom.
You know, we don't typically see that here at this racetrack.
It's fun to watch.
It is.
He's driving away a bit.
It's been an impressive year for Taylor Gray, the 19-year-old. Jeff Hensley comes on board, and those two just hit it off. Started the first race at Daytona on his lid, but they have just figured things out. Great consistency. He's learned so much in his first full season. And now, just like that, he got the call to move up to the Xfinity Series next year.
Yeah, great opportunity for him with Joe Gibbs Racing. Had some really solid runs, running a limited schedule for Joe Gibbs this year.
William Sawallich doing another nice job keeping it inside the top 10 in that one truck.
saw just ahead there, Stuart Greason talked about that sixth place run at Miami. Here he is again up there in sixth place, having a great run all over the back of that 11 of 49. It's been pretty much mortal the last couple of weeks. It's been surprising to see as good as he's been all year long. Does that make you scratch your head as you're heading to Phoenix to race for a championship?
I mean, maybe a little bit. I think if you're Scott Zipadelli and Corey Heim,
At least it's heard at the start of this race, just a few laps in, how terrible I thought that truck was.
Great battle.
Oh, look at this.
Tyler Ingram, they make it 3 wide. Yes, they do.
Who gives?
That's for 7.
Thankfully, it was Carroll on the outside.
yeah, just heads up driving, and certainly by the spotters as well, to let them know that they were 3 wide. You saw Tyler Ankrum give Taylor Gray plenty of room in the mid. Of that 3-way battle.
Oh, man, Grace, tough luck on that outside. Ingram saying, come on, man.
He would love to just put him away and go on and try to chase down Stuart Friesen.
And he's going to get it done.
Tyler Ingram, you look at his season, he comes over to McAnally Hilgeman Racing. They embraced him. He embraced them. Mark Hillman,
Stuart Friesen.
Tyler just hit it off. It's been fun to watch this year. Friesen on the move.
A bit of a struggle this year for Stewie. It's good to see him have this type of speed. Talk about him winning on dirt. Every time I look at Instagram, he's holding a trophy somewhere up in the Northeast.
I'd like to hold one of these.
Big run last week. Friesen getting a 6th place finish at Homestead. Well, the night has belonged to the 19 of Christian Eckes. Can he hang on to it? 50 laps to go from Martinsville.
All right, halfway through stage 3, Christian Eckes with a 6-second lead over Nick Sanchez in second right now. Largest lead of the race by far. He's more than doubled his original largest lead of the race through the first 2 stages here tonight. Nick Sanchez still in second, barely holding off Ty Majeski, who's been hot on his heels for a while now, is in third. Ben Rhodes only fell to fourth on the initial restart, still sits in fourth, as he's about a half a second ahead of Stuart Friesen in fifth. 6th place is Corey Heim, Taylor Gray in 7th. Tyler Ankrum in 6th. Then Taylor Gray 7th. Corey Heim has now fallen to 8th. Looks like Heim got stuck behind the lap truck in the 76 of Spencer Boyd. Just lost 2 positions that last lap. William Sawalich is in 9th. Grant Enfinger is in 10th. Lane Riggs 11th. Caden Honeycutt 12th. Corey Day 13th. Matt Kraft in 14th. And Connor Zilich in 15th. 16th, Johnny Sauter. Chase Purdy 17th. Dawson Sutton 18th. Dean Thompson, last truck in the lead lap in 19th. Brett Moffitt, first truck a lap down in 20th. Daniel Dye, 21st. Bailey Curry, 22nd. 23rd, Jack Wood. Matt Mills, 24th. Jake Garcia, 25th. Timmy Hill, 26th. Tanner Gray, 27th. Lawless Allen, 28th. Spencer Boyd, 29th. And Clayton Green in 30th. Justin Carroll, 31st. Matthew Gould, 32nd. Roger Cruth, again, back on the track. 21 laps down at 33rd after a brake issue. Dylan Lupton, 34th. Landon Lewis, 35th. And Nor Benning rounds out her 36 truck field here tonight in the Zip By Now Pay Later 200 at Martinsville. Still a 69.56 mile per hour average race speed. 144 laps led for pole sitter Christian Eckes. Eckes won the first 2 stages of this race tonight as well as he tries to go for his 3rd win of the season and go for the Martinsville sweep after winning the spring race here. He led 133 laps in that one. Already has led more here today with still 46 laps to go. And by leading more than 137 laps here tonight, he has now eclipsed over 1,000 laps led on this Truck Series season. So congrats there for Christian Eckes, picking up where he left off after obviously running a consistent regular season to get himself to the spot he's in right now to try to get into this championship 4. Hopes are looking very high for Eckes to be able to do so. Nick Sanchez remains in second, though. If we were to get a late race restart, if he wins, Ty Majeski would be out. So that's pretty much the only battle really we're looking at right now as far as the playoff standing side of things. Nobody's really going to be able to point their way into the championship 4 of those that came in below the cutoff line that you, again, can consistently see scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Points as they run right now just to indicate as well that that is the case. Ty Majeski's 39 points to the good over Taylor Gray, who is currently in that last spot, or I should say first spot below the cut line. Nick Sanchez minus 44 and then minus 60 for Anchor, minus 70 for Carruth, with Carruth having the brake issues and pulling to the garage early. Tough break for Raja. He was running, I think, 7th, 8th place when that took place back in stage 1, so it took him out of contention early. Anchor moving up to 6th as of right now. Taylor Gray in 7th, so they're all at least in the top 10. It would take probably multiple overtime restarts or late race restarts for Anchor Gray to get up there from where they're running right now. Maybe they could pick up another spot or two before that point. Rhodes is within a second and a half ahead of Ankrum and Gray in 4th, so that could be 2 more positions for him. Get him up to the front 2 rows. I think you're going to have to be at least in the top 4 under a late race restart situation to try to get to the lead, preferably the top 3, because I think you'd want to be on the inside row 2 rather than the outside. But that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So with 40 laps to go, we'll take another break here. And if we don't have another caution the rest of the way, this will be our final break of the race. You're listening live on KRC to the Martinsville Craftsman Truck Race under the lights. The 33 likes on the stream and counting, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as well. Content on the daily, but we have live race commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for Truck Xfinity Cup races that will continue on through next season and beyond as well. Cup practice qualifying streams also, that will take place tomorrow afternoon. Had a triple header last week at Homestead on the channel. We started streaming Cup practice at 9 a.m. all the way through the Xfinity race later yesterday, or last Saturday evening. That got done about 6:30 Eastern time last weekend. So it was a long day, not as long tomorrow. Double header with Cup practice and qualifying again. That begins at 1 p.m. Eastern. Xfinity race at 4. And we will have Cup action 1:30 p.m. Eastern as well on Sunday. We are under caution for the 4th time tonight. Caden Honeycutt with a pretty big hit into the turn 1, turn 2 wall. Heavy damage on his truck.
Well, so that's what
That
happened.
does, exactly. Good bit of damage to that piece truck.
That's the 4th caution of the night. First 2 were for stage breaks.
Well, that's going to change things here. That's going to give Sanchez an opportunity here on a restart.
Yeah, I've been watching the lap times, and Sanchez is equaled or runs just a little bit quicker than that, because a lot of these laps, it's hard to follow along to see who's in traffic and who isn't. But I've seen a couple of clean laps, and it looks like Sanchez is equaled out. And, we've talked about pushing and shoving. Just, I don't care what you've seen the first 163 laps. It's getting ready to look a lot different. This restart will be very, very aggressive. Christian Eckes has had the truck to drive away from the field, but if he could do that, behind him, it's going to be chaos.
Desperate times right now for the 2 of Nick Sanchez.
See, Daniel Dye came to pit road. I don't think pit road was open yet, so he will have to restart from the tail end. Obviously,
have an issue, yeah.
Had an issue they're looking at.
Daniel had fallen off the lead lap.
See a couple Ilmore engine officials there, so obviously he felt like something was going wrong, whether it was a plug wire or something going wrong with the engine. That's why the Ilmore folks are under the hood there. We'll see if anyone takes this opportunity to come to pit road here. I'm telling you, if I'm outside the top 10, I might take a chance here. There's not many laps to go. Maybe take a chance and try to get some new tires and make something happen, even though this pace has been pretty quick this entire race.
What about Corey Heim? He's running 11th. We've documented his struggles. Why not? We've talked about Hail Marys. I would almost call come to pit road right now a bit of a Hail Mary. Take a chance that others don't.
There are only 17 trucks on the lead lap. We've had as many as 27 on the lead lap.
There's only 6 spots. I believe I'd come if I was this 11 team.
Well, all eyes turn to Big Noon Saturday as 4th-ranked Ohio State squares off against 3rd-ranked Penn State in one of the biggest games of the year. It all starts at 10 a.m. Eastern with Big Noon kickoff that's live from Happy Valley, followed by Ohio State, Penn State. That's at noon. It's all on Fox. That is a big game. Not a fan of Ohio State, are you?
I make that aware when people aware of that during the practice show.
There went Taylor Gray, man. He barely made it in.
Corey Heim, you said outside the top 10.
Here he comes. This is good stuff. Talk about aggressive racing with those new tires. We're going to see it.
We're going to use those bumpers, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
But I like this call. Again, only 17 trucks on the lead lap. We're used to way more than that. There's been very few cautions this race for what we normally see.
Amanda.
As you see, Brandon Finger pulling into his pit box, he's been talking about the importance of tires here tonight. Before the prior stop that Grant had, there was a conversation with the team. Do I take 2 tires? Do I take 4 tires? Grant said, no, tires will make or break it here tonight. So maybe that's part of the strategy play of getting the guy that's been back-to-back wins here in the playoff back on track.
Yeah, and he's got so many people came to pit road. So the guy that won the race off the pit road, all the trucks that pitted, he's going to have pretty good track position.
Saw Taylor Gray come down pit road. Watch how this shuffles out.
I don't think this will affect Christian Eckes at all unless there's multiple cautions and people get knocked out of the way and those fresh tires just keep creeping toward the front. I guarantee you Christian's concerned about where's the first guy with tires going to restart? That's the question I would ask if I was behind the wheel. Just tell what's happened to Caden Honeycutt. See some sparks, and he's down on the bottom, up into the wall.
Yeah.
He lost a right front tire like we speculated.
Yeah, exactly right. Tough break for Kate Honeycutt. Run just outside the top 10.
I don't believe he can get going again.
He's already 5 laps down. I'm sure they're just waiting for the pit road to clear so they can push that truck behind pit wall.
Just remember this name, Caden Honeycutt. He will go to Victory Lane next year. He's a talented young racer and getting a great opportunity.
Regan, let's hear from a crew
Michael
chief. What
Walter
did you
calling a
think?
shot.
Well, Jamie, maybe not the caution that you guys necessarily wanted to see. It seemed like everything's going just like you wanted tonight. Truck's very good, Joe. Sure, you didn't know how to play the race out earlier. Looks like it's going well.
Yeah, it's going with, what we need to do here, but I wish it was a little bit better. The 19's pretty stout. We just got to make sure the 2 don't win.
How do you do that?
That's a good question. That's up to those guys.
Good luck.
Joe said, I gave him the truck he needed to make sure that doesn't happen. Now go make sure it doesn't happen. Joe's done everything he can now.
Amanda.
Well, Kenny, Joe Shear just said we have to make sure that the 2 does not win. I heard you guys flirting with the idea of making a pit stop there. You decided to stay out. How can you guys get to Christian?
Christian's really good, but we still feel we get the front row here. Christian could spin his tires. We could get the lead. And it's a run we're really good on the long run. So we felt if we can get the jump on the restart here and get out front, we, that's our best shot to win me bigger.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Woo. Tense times here on the front row. We're going to choose it up.
Yeah, we know he's going to take the front row, and I think he has to. This situation, again, you never know what could happen. It could spin, especially old, hotter tires. A lot easier to spin those tires on this restart.
Christian takes the bottom as we expected, and we've also documented how strong that outside lane is. See, jumping up a row is Tyler Akron. Stewart chose the bottom.
This will be the first time this evening that Nick Sanchez has restarted on the front row.
Only 8 trucks stayed on the racetrack.
Yep. That's what I was counting too.
Bill, have we seen our last caution of the evening?
I can't
Nope.
imagine.
We've seen these races. We've seen a lot of them, actually.
Remember in the spring, our average green flag run was less than 10 laps.
Wow.
Just 30 laps to go. So Bent Rhodes, the first driver on fresh tires back in the 9th position.
Engines, woman.
All right, 29 laps to go on the restart here at the Martinsville Speedway. Christian Eckes inside row 1 for the restart yet again. Nick Sanchez outside row 1. Green flag is already back in the air. And through the middle of turns 1 and 2, Eckes is easily going to be clear on that of Sanchez. Sanchez has to battle for second now with Ty Majeski and hold that spot. 3 wide, Taylor Gray pushing it underneath of Corey Day and Grant Enfinger on fresher tires trying to charge through to the front of the field. Top 8 trucks stayed out of the pits, so 9th on back on 4 fresh Goodyears. We'll bump to the back of the 98 of Majeski as he slides the rear tires in the center of the corner. That hit came from behind by the 52 truck and 4th of Stuart Friesen. Lane Riggs, a little 8 wheels, turns better than 4. Got into the Truck to his outside. Now he's 3 wide on the top of Ben Rhodes and Taylor Gray going off into the next corner. Loses 2 positions, near spin back straightaway. Corey Day into the back of Chase Purdy, then jams right back into him again into the next corner. A lot of contact back there in the middle of the pack. Evasive maneuver here by Purdy to duck to the inside into turn 1, sneaking underneath of Matt Crafton. Day has had his hands full all night. Every time I see that truck on camera, his rear tires are sliding, whether that be off the front bumper or something. Man, I don't know if he missed time to move to the inside, because there was a hole there. In doing so, though, he almost turned Purdy. Then he ended up sliding into him in the next corner, so it's kind of hard to tell whether that was intentional or not. We could hope that it wasn't. Taylor Gray on fresh tires up to 4th as he gets by Stuart Friesen. Grant Enfinger is in 7th. Ben Rhodes in 6th. We'll see if Gray's got something. This could be the strategy call that could get him into the championship 4. He has yet to win in his Truck Series career. And again, he will be going full-time Xfinity racing at JGR next season. He's ran there on a part-time level this year, as Michael Waltrip alluded to earlier in the broadcast. Majeski is now starting to lean on that left rear corner panel of Sanchez. Wants to make this pass for second in case we get another caution. Take Sanchez at least off the front row for another restart. Eckes, though, has been nailing them on the inside of row 1 this entire time. And Taylor Gray is right there on the freshest tires in the field as he's trying to move Majeski. Another reason for Ty Majeski to really get going here, because he doesn't need Gray to win either. So playing a little defense on Gray, gets moved again. Bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Taylor Gray's on the move. 3 seconds off the lead, though, and not that much time to get up to him if it stays green to the finish. Gray to 3rd as he clears Majeski. Majeski not going to be able to get the drive off of turn 4 to get close to the back bumper of the 17 as Gray drives away from him. No traffic yet for Eckes out in front of the field. He has not caught the back end of the pack. 3-second lead built up over Sanchez. And Taylor Gray will be going for second on the 2 truck next. Should get to him probably next lap. 19 to go at the line for the number 19, Christian Eckes. Side by side on the front stretch. A little bit of a bump to that left rear corner panel for the 17 on the 2. And the caution's out behind them. Brett Moffitt up against the outside wall, as he has crashed, and Corey Day also stopped on the track.
Taylor Gray was involved as well.
That's the break that Taylor Gray needed.
I'm telling you, Phil, Taylor Gray is desperate. He needs that win. We talked about it. Throwing that Hail Mary.
If Sanchez will take the outside on the restart, then that will put Taylor Gray or potentially put Taylor Gray right behind our leader Eckes, Michael.
Brett's having trouble getting fired back off. There he goes. Big damage to the left rear of that number 4 truck.
Another restart opportunity, but Eckes has just been untouchable on the restarts.
There's the
Nobody's been
damage.
able to jump him.
Damage to the 15 of Tanner Gray.
Check out right here. That's Dean Thompson, the 5 truck behind the 15 of Tanner Gray.
Oh, jeez.
Tanner Gray was down the racetrack some, and Johnny Sauter was an innocent victim of that.
A lot of damage.
And Brett Moffitt.
Oh. I don't ever like to say I told you so, but that's push comes to shove. And a lot of shoving. That's a lot of shoving.
Remember Brett Moffitt in that Ford truck driving for Hettinger Racing, brand new team. They just acquired all of his equipment and those trucks from Brett Holmes Racing. Now they've got a wrecked truck to fix before we go racing next season.
Look, Taylor Gray in that 17 in the 3rd position, the only truck in the same class as Eckes. And I think Christian still in control. What's Ty Majeski thinking with the 98? And what's not good is the Taylor Gray truck is going to be right on the bumper of Christian Eckes, and probably will be using that bumper. And why it isn't good is because if Taylor Gray makes his way in, it could knock Majeski out.
Michael, something else to think about also with the 98 of Ty Majeski, he has a teammate on fresh tires behind him, the 99 of Ben Rhodes. He just said on the radio, my best bet might be to let Ben go up there and battle it out with those guys to keep Taylor Gray from getting the win potentially.
Oh, there's so many moving parts and pieces in this playoff racing and stage racing and just the drama that it all comes down to here at Martinsville.
Well, Jeff, there's a lot of drivers that are discussing your driver right now. Ty Majeski just saying on air, man, this is not good right now. It was a late dive for Taylor into pit road. What spawned that decision?
I mean, it actually was a pretty easy call because we weren't going to win it like we were. And the 98 had a really good night tonight, point wise. It was our only call. I mean, we just got to get up there. This thing can go rest of the way green. We got a shot. The 19 is still really good, but we're on about 40 lap pressure tires here. So we'll see what happens. Get us a good restart here. I think we get out front. The adjustments we've made all night is made our truck better. My strategy ain't been to change it about 4 times. So I guess that's the definition of a good plan. It's change it when you have to. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Jeff.
I think it's been pretty good.
Well, you have to adjust.
Adapt, and
Yeah.
he's been able to do that and do it well because he's in a position right now with Taylor Gray to maybe make something happen.
You have to have a plan so you know what you're varying from, and that's what they've done is varied from their plan, and that's been. I'm just hoping this doesn't get ugly. I hope they don't.
Yeah.
Running over each other because there's so much on the line to go to Phoenix and race for a championship.
Me included,
Why does
Mikey.
this go down?
And Jeff was talking about having fresher tires. He pitted 60 laps after Eckes, but he's talking about green flag laps. Those are the only laps that really matter on the tires. It's going to be fun to watch here.
It's the sin of the 98 again.
I don't know.
He's pulling for Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Ben was one of those trucks that came down pit road when Taylor Gray did. How about Sanchez
Takes the bottom.
and gives the front row to Taylor Gray?
Oh, we didn't. Well,
Didn't see that coming.
well, one thing you got to think about, Phil, is how fast 19 has been all night long. He just takes off from the restart and he's gone. Maybe Sanchez thought, I'm just going to follow him, and that'll get me the best chance to get up there and race for this win. If I get on the outside, you put the 17, who he knows has better tires, on the bottom, he might lose second as well. So
Yeah,
this
probably
could be a
good plan. Yeah.
strategy just to count on the speed that Eckes has had all night long and follow along.
So Ty Majeski, we were listening to the 98 truck outside row number 2. He's talking about his teammate right there, Ben Rhodes on the inside, right behind him. Here we go again.
All right, 12 laps left on the restart. Christian Eckes is the leader. Sanchez inside row 2. Taylor Gray outside row 1. Green flag in the air. Jeski spun his tires on the outside row 2 in the restart again. Gray with the fresher tires not going to be able to stay alongside Eckes off turn 2. Eckes is cleared down the back straightaway. And into turns 3 and 4 as he rolls up right in line behind him. The race is more than likely between these top 2 if this stays green to the checkered flag. Beating and banging going on back half of the top 10 as they try to jockey for position. 11 laps to go. Bump and run at the front of the field. Gray sneaks to the inside of Eckes. Down the back straightaway. Caution is out. And that's going to buy Eckes more time. Our 6th yellow of the day. A lap and a half after the restart. And problems for the 66 of Johnny Sauter now.
Reason I had some piece or part of that.
Some damage to the left rear of that right in front of the tire on the left side.
These were trucks that were running in various positions, so it must have been a bit of a chain reaction.
Was the 9 maybe granite finger part of this?
Right twist down. John gets hit by the 77. He knocks into the 52 of Creason, and then, like you said, somehow I clear Johnny Sonic involved.
Heads up driving by Connor Zillage and Dean Thompson there. We're under caution for the 6th time with 10
A fender on the 66 of Sauter on pit road. Caution flag is out. It looks like Matt Mills will get the free pass in 20th place. Free pass, the yellow flag before that went to the driver, the 41, Bailey Curry, Mills' teammate at Nice Motorsports. Not a good night for Nice with Caden Honeycutt, having the brake failure, causing a caution earlier in stage 3 while running up as high as 5th at one point in the race today. I think he was still in the top 10 at the point of that failure, but we'll be seeing him again full-time next season. He's had some great runs, especially on those intermediate tracks, so see what he can do next season. Obviously, Carson Hosvar, that same truck, made it to the Championship 4 last year. Could have some high hopes for Honeycutt next season. Taylor Gray trying to get career win number 1 on the guy who was dominant this race. Christian Eckes clearly has had the fastest truck all night, but the fresher tires for Gray have prevailed him up to 2nd. Ben Rhodes, also on fresher tires, is now up to 4th. He got by his teammate Ty Majeski on that last restart. Rhodes now the highest running Ford on the leaderboard. Corey Heim fell back quite a bit from 6th to 9th. Stuart Friesen, who was in the top 5 on the restart, now back to 10th. 20 trucks on the lead lap, with Mills getting the free pass. That's assuming Sauter remains on the lead lap despite getting caught up in this incident. We are definitely headed down the home stretch here today. A little over an hour and a half now from the drop of the green flag to where we are at this point. All 3 cautions for incident in this final stage have come in the final 40 laps of the race. Lap 162, 181, and now at lap 189. That was the shortest green flag run of the day we've had so far, of only a lap and a half between cautions 5 and 6. Listed involved in this last incident, quite a few, very few with damage. Zilich and Riggs. But Sauter really the only one that had any sort of major damage from it.
Christian Eckes, when that caution came.
Oh, that's not it. Hang on. Logged into the wrong thing there at first.
But those front row trucks are just faster than the rest. And it looked like I said, on that short run before that caution, that Gray is better than Eckes right now because of those 45, 50 lap pressure tires.
As long as he can get in second, the lead, yeah, great, fine. That's going to be fine, good. But if he can get in second, if he can get in front of Sanchez, then that's the key.
Remember what we said about Majeski saying, let's get Ben, make sure he gets up there and has a shot at it because he has on those fresh tires too. Look at Ben outside of row 2.
Right behind that 17 of Taylor Gray.
Well, we have to note the 19 of Christian Eckes is not locked in. If something happens here and he gets knocked around, there is a chance he could miss it.
I've been trying to lock him in all night, Jamie. It just mathematically it doesn't work yet, but it's close.
As close as they can get without being locked in, but here we go. 5-lap shootout. Green flag back in the air. Gray on the outside gets a better launch through the restart zone than Eckes, and he might beat him down into the first turn. As they head forward, Eckes leans on the 17 just a little bit, but Gray gets the drive off. Still some leadage on the back straightaway. Gray clear off the exit of turn 2, but as they go into 3, Eckes ships him up the racetrack. Gray's going to lose so many positions out of this, and that might take him out of a shot to get to the Championship 4. He falls to the outside for 4th. Ben Rhodes, also on fresh tires, moves the 19. He saw the moves he was willing to make to try to get the lead back. Rhodes is going to do the same thing now. 3 to go this time by at the line. Ben Rhodes is clear off turn 4. Eckes looking to get the drive off. He may try to ship it back. Upset here in the penultimate race of the year. Eckes moves him back up the hill again. It's bump and run after bump and run. Eckes on the inside. Rhodes on the outside. Eckes slides up, takes the line away the 99, and Chase Purdy's up to 2nd now. Eckes is holding on for dear life. The gloves are off. White flag is going to be in the air next time by. We currently have 2 to go. A lot of 3-wide battles in the back of the top 10 around Riggs and Heim. Battle for 2nd between Rhodes and Purdy. Rhodes lost so much time after Eckes moved him up out of the way. Rhodes gets back to 2nd. Purdy tried to cross him over off 4. 1 lap to go for the race leader, Christian Eckes. Determined to win the race after dominating all day. Moved Gray, moved Rhodes out of the way, who were on fresher tires down the home stretch. But as they come to the green-white checkered flag, Christian Eckes is going to go on to win in domination despite the late race restart that nearly costed him a chance at this win. He holds on, locks his way to the championship 4, but win number 3 in a Martinsville sweep on the mind here for Eckes tonight. Ben Rhodes finishes in second. Chase Purdy. Can't blame him. Definitely a do what it takes moment there out of Eckes. Gray, as I mentioned, ended up finishing in 4th. We'll go through the full finishing results one night's action. I really thought we were going to see career win number 1 for Taylor Gray here tonight, but Christian Eckes had other ideas.
Multiplied, you know, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. Next time I'm gonna hit you harder. See Taylor Gray.
I mean, you can't fault Gray. Gray ran him clean.
It's on the outside, and here comes the contact.
Nothing Taylor could do at that point.
Yeah.
And look at Ben Rhodes.
They're the same thing to Ben Rhodes,
He
too.
gets knocked out of the way,
Yeah,
too.
Eckes essentially did the same thing to Ben Rhodes that he did to Taylor Gray.
And then he slides up and takes the win. I mean, that's the way they race these days.
It is.
And nobody got spun around. Now, like Jamie said,
That's what I meant.
was it over aggressive? Maybe, but is it what you expect? Certainly.
That's the new norm, like we've talked about.
And I just aren't quite used to it. You know, I know it.
It's hard to get used to.
There's always mixed emotions. You hear the fans celebrating and the others booing. Nothing but love. You got the checkered flag. Regan's
the one dude.
Well, Christian gets the dominant truck all night long, but at the end of the race, the way the cautions play out, fresh tires coming at the end, had to use a little bit of elbow grease there to get it done, but you're going to race for a championship in Phoenix. How does that feel?
It feels great. You know, like I told everybody, I wasn't going to let us lose this race. The truck was too good. 17 was just hard race, and I feel bad about the 99. I just got way too loose entering the corner, but everybody's really happy with me. But I don't really care. I'm proud of everybody for working hard, and yeah, we'll go on Phoenix.
Congratulations. Christian Eckes wins at Martinsville.
Taylor Gray has climbed out of his truck. He is running away.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Taylor, I'm going to walk with you.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Right now. That was the push away from the microphone. His team told him,
We need officials.
we will get them next weekend when it'll hurt.
And George Bianchi walking
That's the
behind
thing.
him.
Talk about him, Michael.
We're going to have tempers on the stage.
Didn't want to lose this race. He had the best truck. He dominated the race.
Tempers are about to flow in
Again,
victory
these
lane.
drivers have memories, and now I think he's probably got the 17 of Taylor Gray and maybe the 99 of Ben Rhodes. Both upset at him a little bit.
Yeah, I would guess so. And
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
NASCAR security is to his left right there. He's got his
Oh.
team.
Yeah, he's not going to let
That's
any.
something to say. That finish. Taylor Gray on the outside,
NASCAR,
28 points behind.
NASCAR security is walking with him, hoping he walks it off before they have to intervene.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Hear him say, calm down. Here's Bob Pockris.
Oh, no, not Bob.
Feels any differently now than he did when he got out of the
Get out of the way, Bob.
We knew emotions would run high tonight. So much, your whole season's on the line.
Well, you got to think also.
In the
I like how the official's just letting him go onto the track. He's not doing anything. He's probably got somebody in his ear like, oh, yeah, it's good for the sport.
As Phil said, a second.
He'll let him get close.
This would have got him to Phoenix race for a championship and not made enemies.
It's a long walk, by the way, to get onto the racetrack for Taylor Gray, and he has not cooled off.
The team trying to protect their driver. We apologize for that language. That's NASCAR. It's all access. The microphones are on. The emotions are running high. He just lost.
I'm glad he didn't start a fight in victory lane because that would have that might be the worst area I think we have seen a fight. We haven't seen a fight in victory lane before. Obviously, Martinsville doesn't have a traditional victory lane, and victory lane is on the front stretch in front of the crowd. That's what makes this track unique compared to a lot of others. But yeah, that definitely some sourness there for Taylor Gray. And I mean, he has every right to be upset. It was kind of like the Logano-Truex deal back in 2018 where Truex, was racing him clean, got around him clean. Logano shipped him in the last corner. A little bit different circumstance there in the sense that was for Logano to get to the Championship 4. Eckes was going to make it into the Championship 4, but he really wanted to win this race. And Taylor Gray, obviously in the 17, got shipped up out of the way, and here's Gray with Fox's Amanda Busick.
I know, Taylor, you had an exchange of words there. You are walking back from that conflict right now. Are you happy with the exchange?
With the exchange, no. I got shipped to the fence whenever I raced. I'm perfectly clean in 1 and 2. What comes around goes around. I have to race him next year all year long. So, I guess he's got that one for him.
What'd you say in that huddle?
It doesn't matter.
Taylor, we are 1 week away from Phoenix. What are we going to see out of you?
Clean racing.
We heard Taylor say we're going to have to race against each other all next year. They're both moving up to the Xfinity Series. And it all comes down to this, the championships.
I don't think Christian Eckes is winning the championship next week, guys. I mean, it's just my quick take here, but he might have won today, but at what cost? Taylor Gray might not be running around him next week. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Gray will get his comeuppance at some point in time. I mean, this is a big lost opportunity there for Taylor, and he raced him clean, had fresher tires, passed him on the outside in the race start, and Christian Eckes was determined to win the race, uses the front bumper on him, proceeds to do that on Ben Rhodes after the fact, and here we are. So Christian Eckes with a 1.1 second margin of victory. Ben Rhodes finishes in the second place position here tonight. Chase Purdy third. Good solid finish for him. Battling for second there down the final couple laps with Ben Rhodes. Taylor Gray did end up finishing fourth after getting shipped from the lead. I think he got credited with 1 lap led because that was down in turns 1 and 2 where he ended up getting shipped. Then fifth after Gray was Nick Sanchez in 5th. Lane Riggs 6th, another top 10 on the short track for him. Corey Heim 7th, Tyler Ankrum 8th, Grant Enfinger 9th, and Stuart Friesen rounds out the top 10. Ty Majeski at 11th, Connor Zilic 12th, Matt Craft in 13th, William Sawalich in 14th. Dawson Sutton 15th, 16th for Bailey Curry, Dean Thompson 17th, Corey Day 18th, and Jake Garcia 19th was the last truck to finish on the lead lap. Jake Garcia lap down in 20th, Timmy Hill 2 laps down in 21st, Spencer Boyd 22nd, Lawless Allen 23rd, Clayton Green 3 laps down in 24th, Justin Carroll 25th, Jack Wood 4 laps down in 26th, Matthew Gould 5 laps down 27th, Johnny Sauter 6 laps down in 28th, Tanner Gray DNF finishing 29th, Brett Moffitt did not finish the race, finishing 30th. Raja Crute did finish, but 21 laps down in 31st. Daniel Dye had an issue late. He finishes 32nd off track. Caden Honeycutt, brake failure, finishes 33rd. He had a hard hit into the turn 1 wall. Dylan Lupton, 34th. 35th for Landon Lewis, and Norm Benning rounds out our 36 truck field tonight. So actually 7 DNFs in tonight's race. 6 cautions. Didn't get out of hand by any means. So I will credit these drivers for that. I had a couple instances where cooler heads did not prevail, but that's short track racing. And very common with short track racing. Tempers definitely there between Taylor Gray and Christian Eckes. We'll see if anything follows next weekend in the championship race. Eckes obviously going for the title. Your 4 drivers that qualify for the championship 4, 2-1 wins, 2-1 points. Grant Enfinger winning the first 2 races of the round, obviously locking in at Talladega. Also doubled down on that with a win at Homestead last week. And tonight, obviously, Christian Eckes qualifies in with a win. 2 drivers qualified in on points, that being Corey Heim and Ty Majeski. We didn't get interviews from them, unfortunately, after clinching the championship 4 because FS1 now has a college football game taking place. Looks like Boise State at home, so not wanting to get that off to a late start. Lack of interviews, I guess, there tonight. And obviously with the whole thing between Gray and Eckes there, right as the post-race was going on, or lack thereof, I should say, that was the full focus, it looked like, from Fox, from the broadcasting side of things. So unfortunately, we didn't get an interview from anybody else. But that is pretty much going to end our race, other than the other race statistics we got to go through. Again, 6 cautions tonight. We did see several lead changes late between the 99, 19, 17, getting around to 19. So what looked like we were only going to have 2 lead of this one here today. We ended up sitting at 6 lead changes. 3 different drivers led a lap. Ben Rhodes led 2 different times for 12 laps. 1 lap for Taylor Gray late. 188 of the 200 laps led tonight for Christian Eckes. I think, honestly, that's the main reason he was going for the win, because of dominating the race as much as he did. He had as much as a 7.5 second lead in this final stage before that third to last caution came out at 39 laps to go. And the last green flag run of the checker ended up taking 5 laps. Our longest green flag run of the race would have been from the restart with 90 laps to go all the way down to 39 to go. So 61 lap green flag run, or longest there. 65.7 total time on this race. Congratulations to Christian Eckes for getting the win. And congratulations to each of the Championship 4 competitors throughout the entire season to get themselves into the Championship 4 leading into next weekend's race at Phoenix. We'll be live for that one. Prime time next Friday night. Slightly later start time than what we had here for this evening's race at Martinsville. We'll be live still 3 more times this weekend for NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series action. Our Cup Series practice and qualifying stream will be our next live commentary stream tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll also be live at 4 p.m. Eastern for the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, 250 lapper there. And the 500 lap NASCAR Cup race will begin at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Sunday afternoon with our pre-race, as the race itself will begin shortly after 2 p.m. Eastern. That will all obviously be on the same stream, and hope to see you for all of that action and more. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's race coverage. Be sure to hit the like button. Helps the channel out a ton. Hit the subscribe button. That helps the channel out a ton. And you can follow along for more daily NASCAR content. See you guys tomorrow afternoon for our Saturday doubleheader. And have a good rest of your Friday night. And post happy Halloween, everybody.